Hello everybody. Alright, so let's see, the 22nd. Got a couple of games. Okay, it's a Big Delicious and Dragon New York here. It's not really worth recording those games. Big Delicious quit as soon as he or she realized I was playing Lantern Control, it looks like. Typed in the little message thing saying, hey, sorry, your deck isn't fun to play against, and left. Dragon New York was, it looks like they were playing a bunch of standard cards. There's some negates, some little goblin that I think when it dies it gives critter -1/-1. That thing where, the black enchantment where whenever you play a land, or a land comes into play, a landfall, the opponent loses a life, you gain a life, and all that crap. But anyways, so those aren't really worth recording. I wouldn't really consider them much of a win. But here's one from Frozen Shadow. Okay. So yeah, it looks like a keepable hand. I mean, I gotta worry a little bit about getting a bridge online if my opponent's on aggro, but if my opponent is on combo, then things are looking pretty good. No matter, I mean, this hand pretty much neutralizes about any combo deck out there. I normally don't like the whole blind mill thing with Gold Caller's Bell, but depending on whether or not my opponent actually has graveyard interaction, then yeah, I can safely do that and recur what I want and extract what my opponent has. But start off with, Thoughtseize. Turns out my opponent is on a budget burn deck that was highlighted here recently. I think it might have been in TG Goldfish it was highlighted. But yeah, it's got Shard Volley, Mountain, Monastery Swiftspear, and Lava Spike. So go ahead and extract all of those during my opponent's draw step here, and we can take a good look at my opponent's deck. Excuse me, I'm getting over a cold here. But yeah, it's a whole lot of budget stuff here, and it's a burn deck. It's pretty good. Burn happens to be pretty decent. But yeah, go ahead and get the Swiftspear, get those Swiftspears. So that'll help a lot as far as cutting down the amount of damage my opponent can do. Usually creatures deal more damage than anything until I get a bridge down. So yeah, going for it. There's not a whole lot of needle targets, so needle's kind of a dead card in here, unfortunately. But yeah, I played the surgical during my opponent's draw phase in case I can get something out of it. Yeah. I'm going to play both the bells, so now I can just mill like crazy. And again, I can just use Noxus Survival to get what I need. If you notice, my opponent is actually low on burn spells here. So if I can get a Lantern, that would be really great, because then that just shuts off everything that my opponent's got. So I get back the Ancient Stirrings with Noxus Revival, my one of, grab that Lantern. Don't even need Ensnaring Bridge, because obviously my opponent does not have a creature. And let's keep it like that. So for the, if I remember correctly, the rest of the game I just keep my opponent on lands, and that's it. I mean, again, Needle does nothing. I mean, I guess I could have played it. When I was actually playing the game, I didn't take a good look at my opponent's deck, so I didn't notice that there were no real needle targets. So that's why I'm still holding it here. You can see. Yeah, Stirring Blaze on top, so I decided to let my opponent draw that, and I just won't play any Spellskite for the rest of the game, and things will be good. So yeah, it's just a matter of keeping my opponent off of any burn spells, and my opponent concedes. Okie dokie. Let's see here. Alright, good. Look at that Sunbeam Spell Bomb. Heck yeah. So if I get, some way to recur Sunbeam or whatever, a Mill Rock, that's good too. So I actually, I Stirrings for a Mill Rock because my opponent does have that Smash the Smithereens on top, and I would rather that not happen. Again, my opponent has a handful of burn, And it's up to me just to make sure that my opponent doesn't get enough burn. I go ahead and pop the spell bomb now because my opponent doesn't have a whole lot, so my opponent can't try to do anything in response to keep me from gaining life. But yeah, it looks like my opponent sided in ley lines. If you notice, my opponent is on one land. So all it is, and I see right here, can I back it up a little bit? Well, Magma Jet, Keldon Marauders, Molten Rain, Dragon's Claw. So it's going to be an easy game. All I got to do is keep my opponent off of lands now. And let my opponent draw every spell that costs over 1. And I start recurring the spell bomb and gain a ton of life, or just I'm looking at gaining a ton of life, and my opponent realizes what's going on and is like, screw this, and it concedes. Don't blame him or her. So, one of the easier burn matchups.